to the groundbreaking for the Wallis Annenberg Wildlife Crossing. Woohoo! And we want to welcome everybody watching around the world. This is not just an LA story. This is not just a California story. This is a story around the world. P22, we did it. Woo! But we didn't do it for P97 and P32 and P104 and P18, and I could be up here all day with the list. But we're making the world safer for the rest of them. And we are going to give this mountain lion a future. And everybody here today was a part of that. And we have limited time, so I can't run down thanks, but you'll hear from so many people today who have made this a reality. And we are so honored to be here and celebrating with you all who looked at this impossible dream and, like me, said, not on my watch. We are not going to let this mountain lion population go extinct on our watch. Before we get started, I want to welcome up a friend and an amazing human being, Alan Salazar. We want to acknowledge right now that we are on the homelands of the Chumash, and we have benefited in this project and just in life from their wisdom and understanding and knowledge. And Alan is here to start this off right with a Chumash blessing.
Amanat Netawan Alan Salazar, Netawan Fernandinho Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. Hello, I'm Alan Salazar. I'm a tribal member of the Fernandinho Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. My family is Chumash Tataviam, and we trace back to the Chumash village of Tapu, which is just a few miles north of us. I want to start by calling in the ancestors. See if I could do this without whacking anybody. I want to start by acknowledging the four directions. To the south, to the west, to the north, and to the east. The east is where the sun rises every day, signifying the beginning of a new day, the beginning of a new journey, the beginning of a new era in California, in the United States, of protecting our wildlife. I want to pray to the sky people, to Mother Earth, to the Great Spirit. I want to pray for all of our ancestors, all of those that have gone on to the spirit world that are looking down on us today. I want to pray for our elders. I want to pray for our young people, that the young people take the time today and talk to those elders, learn their story. I want to pray for all of our soldiers and our warriors that they come home safely. And I want to pray especially today for all of our leaders, my tribal leaders. My tribal president is here. For city, county, state, national leaders, I pray for them. I pray that they're able to speak and say everything they have to say in 2 minutes. Some of them 1.5 minutes. That's a lot to ask for, Great Spirit. We need you today. But I want to pray for all the animals. My tribes, the Chumash, the Tataviam, we are clan people. We have the eagle clan, the bear clan, the mountain lion clan, the spider clan. We use the animals as teachers. We need them more than they need us. But it's our job to protect them. We built these roads and these highways. Now it's our job to protect them. A moment of silent prayer, because we all pray differently. And say a prayer for P97 and the mountain lions that we've lost. A moment of silent prayer, please. I leave this offering and thank Mother Earth for everything that she gives us. I promised Beth I'd do 359. I hope I'm close.
You did it!
Kisha. Kisha Shwala.
I told all the speakers today you get a tweet. So next up, we love LA because LA lives with mountain lions, but this crossing is in the city of Agora Hills, and come on up, Mayor Deborah Klein Lopez, to give you a greeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Deborah Klein Lopez, and I am the mayor of Agora Hills. It is my great honor to welcome you to our beautiful town today, where Mother Nature always tells us who's boss, that's for sure. We are here this morning because we've reached a milestone that is a result of years of commitment to environmental protection. And while this is a very exciting and hopeful moment, yesterday's loss of yet another mountain lion on our Southern California highways is a reminder of how important and timely this work is. So thank you again for being here. You'll hear today that it's not random or coincidental that we are at this spot right here in Agora Hills. This location has been dictated by the wildlife itself and supported by decades of thoughtful partnership, action, and investment. Agora Hills is known as the gateway to the Santa Monica Mountains, not just for humans, but for our native species as well. And once we break ground, we will become the gateway to the Simi Hills, the Santa Susana Mountains, Los Padres National Forest, and beyond. The city of Agora Hills was founded exactly 40 years ago on the very principles that bring us all here today: protection of open space, preservation of our native flora and fauna, and respect for our cherished land. This year, we will celebrate our 40th anniversary knowing that we are living up to the ideals that our city was founded upon. I grew up in Agora Hills. I grew up inspired by these mountains, the Santa Monica Mountains. And it's why you're here today as well. You are also inspired, as I was, to go into public service. We all know what the mountain lions know, that Agora Hills is a very special place. And now the world is going to know that too. Once again, welcome to Agora Hills.
Okay, and now get ready to dance a little bit, everybody. We have Warren Dixon and two amazing students are gonna sing the P22 song for you. Come on stage.
Yeah.
Let's go, Warren.
Yeah. We on? Man, I gotta make a little more noise. I'm over here.
He required. Let's get this party
Yo,
started.
What's up? We all the way here from Watts, California. That's not supposed to happen. But look, before we do the song, these are two kids from my community, from Watts, that was affected by this, and they just wanted to say something real quick, all right?
Hello, good morning. My name is Jade Brown, and I am very thankful for this crossing because it can help mountain lions like P22 stay safe and not become roadkill and keep their population from going extinct.
Thank you for doing this.
All right, so let's get this going. Let's get this music going, all right? All right, and this is these are songs you guys are gonna have to be involved with, so don't get too comfortable. All right, let me hear it. This first one is called "We Are One," right? Wildlife, human life, we're one. I don't know if she's gonna be able to sign everything that I'm saying, but We are one, all the same. That's the only way that we can make a change. Hey, walk around, one life, hey, wildlife, look. Hey, I look in the sky and see the bird fly. Hey, I could just imagine in my mind. Hey, what it would be like if I could fly around. Shut my eyes and I see nature all around me. Bees buzzing on the flower in front of my place. I see butterflies fly in front of my face. The raccoon trying to find somewhere to eat. See, I was scared, but now he was scared of me. Oh, hey, have you ever heard the story of P22 and his journey? Had to struggle just like me. Oh, hey, that's why I came to believe. We are one, all the same. That's the only way that we can make a change. Hey, walk around, hey, one life, wildlife, hey, we are one, all the same. That's the only way that we can make a change. Walk around, one life, wildlife, hey. All right, no more sitting, no more being quiet. When I point to somebody in this audience, you gotta say, we're on the move again. You ready? It's gonna go like this. Hey, we're on the move again. Okay, something like that. Hey, say we're on the move again. This side, let's see if you can get louder than them. We're on the move again. I like that. I see people I know over there. Hey, look, I woke up this morning and I just started roaming with no map to show me where, but I just started going. See, I used to be small, then I started growing, and I started to think about all I wanted then. Traveled around trying to find my way. Come on and tell me that you go with me. I'm trying to explore far as I can see. I know it's more out there, maybe. Across streets and across mountains, I'll go up them and I'll go down them. I'll keep walking and I'll keep climbing. I'll keep moving until I find it. Okay, if you got a big smile, let me hear you say, we're on the move again. Okay, we got suits. Say, we're on the move again. Okay, if you feel good over here, say, we're on the move again. My name is P22 again. Oh, okay. I don't even know if it's my song anymore. I don't even know. I feel like it's you guys' song. It's not even my song anymore. It's you guys' song. All right. So just to wrap it up, I just want to thank everybody for having us. All right.
Miguel, I'm going to let you introduce yourself for time. Miguel, thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Miguel Ordeñana and I'm the biologist who had the privilege of discovering P22 about 10 years ago. And he doesn't know it, but he's arguably the most impactful animal wildlife story that the conservation community has ever seen. And he has brought much needed empathy and awareness to the plight of our local mountain lions. And he became a catalyst for this movement when a now iconic photo was taken by Steve Winter. Where's Steve Winter at? Steve Winter took an iconic photo of him in front of the Hollywood sign that grabbed the heart and attention of one of the most relentless conservation advocates the conservation community has ever seen, Beth Pratt. But other tireless storytellers took the baton from there, using mediums that are accessible and relatable, such as film, hip-hop music, indigenous storytelling, Spanish media, an exhibit at the Naturalist Museum of LA County. And even though he won't benefit from this crossing, what better way to honor his legacy than building a crossing that will ensure the conservation future of our local mountain lions, a bridge that represents something that is meaningful to me, that urban areas are deserving of conservation attention, and that everybody should have access to nature, and that we need to rethink how we go about conservation and who we invite to conservation discussions. And what better example of that than Principal Rumble and Jonathan and Allison from Esperanza Elementary, who are rewilding habitat in their schoolyard in downtown Los Angeles to create an oasis for wildlife and the community to connect with nature that's often hidden. And this bridge and schoolyard gardens like his are sending the message, an important message, that not only is Brad and his students on the right track, but they are essential. Their perspectives and their leadership is essential for the future of wildlife conservation. So now give a warm and enthusiastic welcome for Brad and the students from Esperanza.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miguel. Miguel, Beth, and all of you, as one who has spent his entire life in education, I want to remind you that all of you are educators, and look what your educating has done today. Let's hear about this more from two incredible students, 5th grade student Jonathan and 4th grade student Allison.
Distinguished guests, we are honored to join you today to celebrate the groundbreaking for the Wallis Annenberg Wildlife Crossing. Our school, Esperanza Elementary, is in downtown Los Angeles. You might not think as our area is a remote hotspot for wildlife, but indeed it is. We have converted 10,000 square feet of campus to native Californian habitat. And we use it as a living laboratory to study our campus natural history. We have observed and recorded 80 birds on eBird, including the burrowing owl and the willow flycatcher, but 17 species of butterflies on iNaturalist, such as the Ackman blue and the gray hair streak. We have learned what's possible for us, and when we use our imagination and know-how and work to solve difficult problems.
The plight of P22 and really of all the mountain lions of our county is a challenging problem. And at Esperanza, we have followed this situation for years now. To see how all of you have come to make this day possible is thrilling. And your work is an important example for us of teamwork and perseverance. For us, it's about connections. As children in downtown Los Angeles, we still have found ways to connect to nature. This has made us understand how important biodiversity is. And now, here at Liberty Canyon, the connection of fragmented habitat that you are creating will increase the genetic diversity of mountain lions, and also of all the other species who will use this wildlife crossing. Congratulations, and count on our lasting stewardship of the earth as we go through our lives.
Wow, okay. I thought I wouldn't cry this early. Next up is a friend of mine who wrote me the best letter I've ever received in my conservation career at age 8, advocating for the protection of P22 and all wildlife. You might recognize her from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where she upstaged Leo in all her scenes. But Julia is here to talk about her commitment, and she's been advocating for this crossing since age 8. Thank you for being here, Julia.
It is so cold up here. Oh my god. Okay. Hello, I'm Julia Butters. Thank you, Beth, for including me in this very special day. I'm so honored to be here to advocate for this historic crossing. It has been a long, long journey, but we did it for our local cougars. I'm so proud of the courageous individuals who've passionately worked together to save so many lives. Not just the cougars, but the many furry residents of LA and Griffith Park, thank you. I'm sure of it. It is a beautiful, chilly, yet hot day for a groundbreaking. We are breaking the ground, putting the shovel in the dirt, and saying, let's go. I've always been an animal lover. I could never eat mac and cheese shaped like cat heads. It was too much for baby Julia. She would sit there with a kitty-shaped sandwich in her grubby hands and cry and cry. A few years later, she was doing a school project. The project was to do research on the wildlife of Griffith Park. She fell down a rabbit hole of bobcats and coyotes and frogs, but mostly cougars, specifically the brave, strong Hollywood mascot, P22. She wrote a letter to Beth Pratt and the state representatives expressing her concerns and ideas about the animals of Griffith Park and got over 100 people to sign. I developed a bond with Beth. And a few years later, I received a plaque as well as a medal, but the cat ears and the tracking collar they sent me along with the package was my favorite part. Then, after a few more years, she woke up, got in the Jeep with her mother, beamed with pride as her hero, Beth Pratt, introduced her, and stepped onto the stage right now, with her heart racing and her palms sweating. I am so proud of Beth. I'm so proud of the donations provided by fellow animal lovers. I'm so proud of the genius scientists that dedicate their lives to wildlife. I'm so proud of the builders and the helpers that wow us with their hard work. And even though I'm only a small part of these cougars' lives, I care. And I showed that I care. And that matters. I'm proud of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Working on wildlife crossings, you meet a lot of visionary thinkers, and introducing the next two from ARC, Animal Road Crossings, they really helped shape and make our crossing the best it could be. Nina Marie Lister and Jeremy, come on up.
Thanks, Beth. As one of the founders of ARC Solutions, which is a diverse partnership of designers, engineers, ecologists, and public agencies, I'm so thrilled and honored to be here. From our start as a design competition, ARC has worked hard for over a decade to create innovative, compelling, and cost-effective solutions for wildlife crossing systems throughout the US and Canada. And we're so proud to participate in this project. To break ground for the Wallis Annenberg Wildlife Crossing is to launch an exciting new class of green infrastructure for the protection and restoration of biodiversity. Not only will it cross one of the largest and busiest highways in North America, but it'll do so with close attention and respect for the extraordinary protected landscapes on each side of the 101 that ensure its success. Its design is the ideal blend of the structural and natural, and it will serve not just as a crossing for P22 and the rest of wild Southern California, but as an inspiration to the world to demonstrate how we can build well for nature and for our shared and interdependent future. Thanks.
In partnership with ARC Solutions, the Ecological Design Lab works to reconnect landscapes across North America and worldwide, and we're so honored to be able to contribute and support this incredible project. This project that bridges disciplines, bridges landscapes and boundaries. It's a real project of hope, and here on Earth Day, that's especially so, connecting people to nature with new innovative infrastructure and integrating engineering, ecology, and landscape architecture for a sustainable future for our children. In doing so, this project, this incredible crossing, catalyzes a system to reweave the beautiful California's significant biodiverse and protected landscapes for people and wildlife. And in doing so, I have to say it sets a new standard for reconnecting landscapes worldwide, and I want to say thank you for leading with landscape. Congratulations.
Thank you. Everybody's so good and staying on time. I do want to give a shout out. You all have these beautiful booklets here, and those in the general mission, when you get to King Gillette, they'll be available for sale. Obie Kaufman, where are you? Look look at these amazing illustrations he did just for the groundbreaking. He will be at King Gillette Ranch afterwards. Next up, Senator Fran Pavley, who has been my friend and mentor on this, and who will email me at 11 at night telling me to go to bed. So Fran, come on up.
I was in charge of giving her weather reports. I assured her it wouldn't rain on her parade. I don't know about you, but Beth told me I have to walk here. And I did, but I have to tell you, I live in Liberty Canyon, so it wasn't that bad a walk. I wanted to share with you a little bit of history in the 60 seconds I have left. Okay, for the last 40 years, this has been an amazing journey. And in fact, let me share with you some of the key people that made all this possible, purchasing land in the Santa Monica Mountains and the Simi Hills. The Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area was created in 1978. They've done some amazing things. In fact, if you've ever been to Chesbro Canyon, have you been there? Hands up. Did you know that was supposed to be a medium security prison? We had rallies to stop that. So we're really thrilled that the recreation area came into fruition. In 1980, the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy was formed. I know Joe Edmonston is here. He and I sort of grew up together in our early 30s on this journey here, and you wouldn't be here today without them and the MRCA. They have purchased this piece of property. It was a furniture store. They purchased the property across the way. I have the track map. 450 condos were approved for that, and the list goes on and on. There's a story to be told. So I just wanted to thank all of you who made a difference in bringing us to on this journey, preserving the land in the Santa Monica Mountains, so that this crossing, our dream, it can become a reality. And it does, Beth, take a village.
If there is a mother of this wildlife crossing, it is Senator Fran Pavley. It's been an honor to work with her on this. Let's give her a hand. Woo! Okay. Next up, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dirk Sellers, Vice President for Philanthropy at the National Wildlife Federation, who I think thought the cougar crossing was crazy at first, but he's come around. Come on up, Dirk.
Thank you, Beth. It is an incredible privilege to be celebrating this moment with you all, maybe a bit of rare air that will draw inspiration from for some time to come. Wallis Annenberg and the Annenberg family, we could not have done this without you. Thank you. We're all grateful for your commitment to this project. Cindy Kennard, Marsha Bonner, the entire Annenberg Foundation team, you've been steadfast partners of ours from the very early days, and we so appreciate your involvement. No doubt, as Senator Pavley said, it took a village of people and organizations to get here, as evidenced by all the folks you'll soon meet. My heartfelt congratulations to those of you who've worked for years, decades even, to celebrate this day. Thousands of people from around the world have rallied to our side, and they share in this tremendous victory with us. Together, we've raised $87 million to date. That puts us just shy of fully funding construction, so there's still time for you to join as we work to endow the National Parks research, to support the crossing's ongoing maintenance, and also sustain a host of California-focused environmental education and engagement programs to ensure a next generation of conservationists, and that this wildlife crossing project, the Wallis Annenberg Wildlife Crossing, the largest to date, is just the beginning. Finally, thank you to our National Wildlife Federation teams, way too many folks to name them all, but especially you, Beth Pratt, Colin, Beth Bro, Brian, Amanda, Austin, Mark, Matt, Care, Tess, Carolyn, Jen, Ben, Raymond, Mike, Courtney, Karina, NWF colleagues past, Hillary, Molly, Zach, and Mandy. Y'all did it, and I could not be prouder of you. And to the partners gathered here and represented on this stage in just a moment, all of your friends at the National Wildlife Federation, thank you for your partnership and are pleased to celebrate this day with you.
Okay, now, thank you, Dirk. I want you to meet, it takes a village, and there's a lot of villagers all out here, but I want you to meet the day-to-day. We have become best friends over time because we talk every day. 10 years together, some of them have been working longer. I want you to give these folks a big hand. Why don't you all introduce yourself real quick?
Rory Skay, Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy and MRCA.
Hi everyone, I'm Barbara Marquez with Caltrans.
David Szymanski, the National Park Service.
Good morning, this is Sheikh Moinuddin from Caltrans, from Project Manager.
Really, they deserve a big hand. Woohoo! All right, this leadership team represents, we work together, like I said, daily, but it represents organizations who you're going to hear from now. And first up, David, you stay on stage, is the National Park Service, whose research led to us needing to build and pointing to that we needed to build this crossing.
Thanks, Beth. As Beth said at the beginning, for decades we've received the wisdom from our tribal elders. The late Charlie Cook said, "Listen to the land." That became the guiding principle for all of us doing conservation in the mountains. Alan Salazar, who welcomed us this morning to the homeland of the Chumash and the nearby Tongva and Tataviam, said, for generations we have listened to the animals as teachers. It's my honor to introduce two people who have dedicated their career to understanding these animals, their plight and their peril. Dr. Seth Riley and Mr. Jeff Sikich.
Great, thank you, David. It's great to be here at Liberty Canyon. This is a really familiar and important place for us in the wildlife group because our carnivore project started right here in Liberty Canyon 26 years ago, tracking bobcats and coyotes on both sides of the freeway here. And we've learned quite a lot about how animals react to urbanization and fragmentation. We've been doing that work ever since then. One of the things critically, of course, that we learned is that big roads like 101 are a major barrier to movement, even for wide-ranging species like bobcats, coyotes, and mountain lions. We learned that it's so much of a barrier that it creates genetic differences across that freeway, and that genetic difference related to fragmentation extends even to widespread common species like western fence lizards and wren tit, species that you see and hear whenever you take a walk in the Santa Monica Mountains. So we've learned a lot of things, and we love to learn things because we're geeky scientists. But here in the national parks, our job actually is to do our best to preserve the wildlife for future generations. And that's why this is so exciting, this moment, to see our science turn into real conservation action. It's really exciting, and it's an incredibly important conservation result. I think it's also a really powerful symbol of the value of science and of the power of the people that believe in that science to take action. David, Jeff and I are up here today, but I just want to thank and acknowledge everyone in the park that's helped do this work and support this work, our collaborators at UCLA and all kinds of other places as well, and all of the partners, and especially want to mention Caltrans. Thank you for being open to a very different kind of bridge, and Beth and National Wildlife Federation for making this happen.
Hi everyone, thank you. So our wildlife studies have shown that habitat loss and fragmentation due to urbanization can have significant impacts on wildlife movement and survival. Mountain lions, which happen to be our last remaining large carnivore in the Santa Monica Mountains, are especially vulnerable to these effects. Our research has documented very low genetic diversity and close inbreeding. And even more urgent, we've documented the physical effects of that low genetic diversity. Our research has also predicted that within our lifetime, we could have a local extinction without connectivity. So this wildlife crossing could not have come at a better time. It is truly a game changer. After 2 decades of research and community building, today's groundbreaking sets a path towards saving our local mountain lions and supporting the diversity of wildlife in this whole region. It's truly inspiring to see so many people come together through the years to make this happen. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time. Jeff and Seth are my heroes. I like making the scientists happy. Okay. David, you've got more minutes?
Oh, yeah. Well, just, we're a national conservation organization and the National Park Service. So a lot of people around the country ask, what is the secret of your success? How did you get to the point where you folks are building this crossing? Was it your elected leaders? And I say, absolutely. They're fantastic. Our members of Congress, our state representatives, our local leaders, and at the state level, it goes all the way up to the top to Governor Gavin Newsom. Is it your partners? And I said, absolutely. We have folks like Joe Edmiston and Rory Skay who have been pushing the boundaries of conservation here for decades. We have Beth Pratt, who hasn't slept since 2014. And so many others. They ask, well, is it the people giving? Is it your philanthropists? And I say, yes. We have one of the greatest philanthropists of our generation in this country, Wallis Annenberg, who has devoted her resources to making Southern California a better place. But the reason this is really happening, that all of these people are working, is you. All of you, both in the tent, outside. Over the last decade, I've seen you show up at meetings. I've seen you come up to us and say, what's the next step and how can we help? You have made this place what it is. So I would like to say thanks for everything that you have done to date, and please continue your work to make our corner of the world a better place. You're making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next up, the National Wildlife Federation, when we do a fundraising campaign, always partners with a local partner. And Charlotte Parry is executive director of the Santa Monica Mountains Fund, who does so much impactful work here. And the research endowment for the National Park Service that we raise will land with the Santa Monica Mountains Fund. Come on up, Charlotte.
Thank you so much, Beth, and it's an absolute privilege, and I'm so excited to be here today and to be able to celebrate with all of you. As David said, the wildlife research has shown, and Jeff and Seth has shown, that this wildlife crossing has to be built here and has to be built now. And anyway, Santa Monica Mountains Fund is the philanthropic partner of the National Park Service here in the Santa Monica Mountains, and we've been supporting this research for 20 years. And it's thanks to all of you who've donated year after year, year in, year out, and have continued to support it in small and large amounts, and we're so grateful to you for that. And we'll continue to support this research throughout the construction and afterwards, so as everyone can understand how effective it is. And with the National Park Service, we're operating the native plant nursery that started construction, so that all the native plants can be used to cover the crossing. We're very excited about that and hope that lots of volunteers will get involved. Right. And so in a few years' time, I can't wait to drive under this crossing and to imagine that maybe a mountain lion will be walking across that at the same time. It's so exciting. So congratulations to everyone that made this happen, and thank you to everyone who contributed.
Next up, another one of the main partners is the Resource Conservation District of the Santa Monica Mountains. Let's give them a hand. Clark Stevens and Board Chair Brody. Come on up.
Thank you for having us. I use my 30 seconds to reminisce on a couple of memories that will always remind me of this project. One is the earliest days of Clark putting our Resource Conservation District architect and executive officer putting pencil to paper on those earliest conceptual designs. And number two, Beth Pratt riding her horse into Topanga Elementary School with a radio tracking collar on, and all the school children gathered around her checking out her P-22 tattoo. Those are the seedlings of this project. Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, Brody. So, so grateful to be here. My gratitude list, judging by the size of this room, was at least 2 minutes long. So instead, I got a minute to tell a story. All right, so just a month after we had completed the undercrossing phase of this project, which you walked by, it's all along the other side. It gives the animals another option to go under. 2018, October, we finished. 2018, November, Woolsey fire came. Burned most of it. Big tragedy for everyone. Joe Edmondson said, "Don't worry, it'll all come back." I wasn't so sure. I came out, I stood right over there, and it was literally still smoking. And out of the corner of my eye to the north, I saw something streak across the ridge, and it literally left like a little trail of ash hanging in the air. And I said, that can't possibly be a roadrunner. Cut to 2 years later, thanks to WCB, and by the way, the original funders way back in the ZEV days, LA County, I'm walking with Mark Abramson up the re-restored Habitat Underpass, and I come up to where there's beautiful sage. You should walk back that way if you can. And right in front of me, staring right at me, on the south side, is a roadrunner. And he looked right at me, and this is a true story. He said to me, "What took you so long?"
Caltrans has been an amazing partner. We have the best Department of Transportation in the country. And when the crossing idea was proposed to them, they're like, "We'll do it. You just need to get us the money." Well, we got you the money. So they're going to build it, but come on up. We have some amazing people. Stephen Crack, Caltrans Acting Director, Tony Taveras, the Caltrans District 7 Director, and our boy Sheik with his cougar tie, who's the project manager for this project. Come on up.
Thank you very much. I have to say, as acting director of Caltrans, it's an unexpected, I say, highlight of my short tenure to be able to come out here and celebrate really an incredible partnership. This remarkable project, I don't think it's been said yet, or maybe it has, it's going to be the largest of its kind wildlife crossing, not just here in California or even in the country, but in the world. And Caltrans does not shy away from the superlative. The tallest, the longest, the biggest, the first. We're not afraid of that. We're ready to step up and see this historic wildlife crossing be put into place over the equally historic US Highway 101. This meaningful project will allow us to enhance the safety for the motorists on 101, but also, and I think more importantly, especially here, it will help to protect the wildlife from that same highway. This bridge demonstrates that this level of innovation, of partnership, of sustainability, it can be done. And it can be done because we do it together. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the National Wildlife Federation for spearheading this effort. And I also want to thank the very many wonderful organizations, agencies, and individuals who've helped to turn this vision into a reality. I have a list, but I'm going to skip it because it's just too long. There's literally too many to list, and I think this turnout, it shows exactly how incredible this partnership is. I'd also like to take the opportunity to acknowledge Caltrans, the folks here and our contractors who've been working on this project. They've got the knowledge, the dedication, the skill to make this happen, and they're behind it 100%. And finally, I'd like to thank all of you. Everybody here is here for a reason. You're here, and your support has made this project happen. Caltrans is proud to partner with all of you. And this morning I learned there's more than 5,000 individual contributions to this project. That's an incredible amount of money. Incredible amount. With that, I just want to thank everybody for this turnout today, and let's hope this is the first of many to come as we continue to focus on adding sustainability to our transportation system. So thank you very much.
Well, good morning. I'm thrilled and excited to announce today that Caltrans has selected a local Southern California contractor to build the world's largest wildlife crossing. Yes. So please join me in recognizing C.A. Rasmussen. They will build this project for us. Thank you.
Well, all I have to say is an amazing partnership that we have that's actually got us all the way up to here. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Sheik's always pretty shy. But we couldn't do it without him. Him leading a very complicated project through. Amazing man. Next up, you're sitting on the land that was protected, and we would not be able to put a wildlife crossing if it wasn't for the team at the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy and / Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. Come on up. Don't be shy. We need the whole group up here. Let's go. They are here today to welcome you.
It is so inspiring to be here. Just a historic moment. And I think about how we preserved the Amundsen Ranch, 3,000 acres just in the hills right behind you all. And after an epic battle, a 15-year battle, and it was preserved and purchased as a state park by the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. And just recently, our Board of Supervisors in Ventura County adopted a new zoning that protects wildlife corridors. Yes. So when the mountain lions and other wildlife cross the amazing Wallis Annenberg Bridge over through Amundsen Ranch to the Simi Hills and through the Los Padres Forest, they will have unobstructed wildlife corridors. And we are emboldened to do more. As I look at what other efforts that we can do, I say build more bridges. We have opportunities, and we're looking at one at the top of the Caneo grade so that we can continue to end the fragmentation that is separating our wildlife from each other, essentially. And that we are also emboldened by this and inspired, and we look to see that we're dared to see that we continue to fight to ensure that Boeing Santa Susana Field Lab is cleaned up of all its nuclear and chemical contamination so it doesn't threaten wildlife or residents or our precious children. And on this day, this Earth Day, at this wildlife bridge crossing, groundbreaking, we are not only stopping or helping to prevent the extinction of mountain lions and other wildlife, we are also inspired and emboldened to do more. Thank you so much for all your work on this.
Good morning, all you wildlife and open space supporters. My name is George Lang, Chair of the Mountains Recreation Conservation Authority, more commonly referred to as the MRCA. And let me mention that the MRCA has been in business for about 40 years, and we've acquired tens of thousands of open space throughout Southern California. But let me mention 30 years, almost 31 years ago today, on this location, MRCA member Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, under the direction of Joe Edmondson, pulled down a large billboard. Some of you old timers on the freeway might have remembered the billboard saying, "Future home of Carpeteria." That sign came down like 31 years ago with ropes tied to the top of it, and a bunch of us pulling that sign down. And I must say that our rangers had pre-cut the supports, so it made it easy. But anyway, seeing this today is just so gratifying for us who've been around many years trying to make this happen. And in closing, I'd like to recognize one of my fellow board members, Jim Hassenauer, and then also on behalf of Irma Munoz and Dan Perenick, my fellow board members, thank you all for the roles that you played. And I'm going to mention a special thank you to Beth and all that she's done to bring this to fruition. Thank you.
My name is Joe Edmiston. I have the pleasure of serving as executive director of the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. I have two tasks today. Number one, I'm not going to let the opportunity to lobby all of these folks go on. This is one of hundreds of wildlife corridors over freeways and obstructions that we need to have. We should have legislation that inventories the critical wildlife passageways and then funds Caltrans to begin the process of crossing all of them, not just for P22. And this is the day for remembrances. Dr. Michael Soule, the late Dr. Michael Soule, was the grandfather of the idea of wildlife connectivity. And we were down here right there about 100 yards, and we were giving him a field trip. He, by the way, wore wingtips on a field trip. So some biologist. Anyway, I said, you know, Dr. Soule, it's going to be complicated to try to explain to people why we need this. And he looked at me as though I had just failed an intelligence test. And he said, Joe, food and sex. Those are the reasons that we need this corridor. And those are the reasons that our mountain lions, all of them, need the two fundamentals. They got to have a place to go to have those midnight assignations that give us more mountain lions.
Hi. Rory Skay again. And this crowd is just a microcosm of the incredible support that was almost unexpected in Southern California, across the nation, and even internationally for the idea of creating a wildlife bridge. My hat is off to all of you out in the audience and beyond for supporting with your money and with your enthusiasm and helping us make this a reality. Thank you.
Real quick, go Badgers, go Bobcats too, and I've been so happy to have been part of this project. It's just fantastic. Thank you.
Paul Edelman.
Thank you all. The last person you heard from was Paul Edelman. He is Chief of Natural Resources. And yep, go Badgers, go Bobcats, go Cougars. Next up, we have a wonderfully special guest, Senator Alex Padilla. Please come up.
Thank you, Beth. Good morning, everybody, and happy Earth Day. You know, I know at the blessing at the beginning, we're all reminded about our 2 minutes. I'll just let you all know I've been blessed with the request of speaking both in English and offering remarks in Spanish this morning. So when the clock hits 2 minutes and I'm still going, now you know why. And I'll offer some remarks that both speak to the celebration today, but also how this really underscores some of the bigger fights that we have to protect our planet for future generations. But I want to start with asking Beth, where did we get one of these sweaters?
Yeah. Save LA Cougar store, everybody.
And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of thanking each and every one of my colleagues in public service at the federal, state, and local level. Otherwise, we'd be here all weekend. But I will ask us all to give a round of applause to Fran Pavley, who has single-handedly carried the political water to get us to today. And it's here. Governor has arrived. Not speaking quite yet, but Governor Newsom is here. Because today we are breaking ground on the world's largest wildlife crossing. A bridge over 10 lanes of traffic, a lot of traffic at that, to protect native species in a rapidly changing environment. We're celebrating a historic partnership between public agencies and private groups to save Los Angeles cougars and so much more. And we're uplifting a model for urban wildlife crossings, not just in the region, not just throughout the state, but worldwide. This project does represent the future of sustainable infrastructure and will make the highway safe for everybody, whether it's families coming to enjoy the Santa Monica Mountains or mountain lions who call this place home long before we did. More than 50 years ago, the first Earth Day was inspired by an oil spill just up the 101 here in Santa Barbara. The idea of losing California's natural treasures and stunning wild spaces inspired activists in the region and across the nation and around the world. And every year, Earth Day is a reminder that we only have one planet. And as special as each and every one of you are, we are each just one part of a complex ecosystem. The record drought across the western United States has not only affected humans, it's also forced wildlife, as we know all too well here, to risk crossing this highway in search of new habitats and breeding partners, according to Joe Edmonston. But it's with creative initiatives like this one that we can protect California's ecosystems without jeopardizing the transportation and other infrastructure development that we need for a growing population. But preserving our rich biodiversity is only possible if we tackle the underlying causes of climate change. And we know what needs to be done. And we will do what needs to be done, from being guided by science to conserving 30% of our public lands and waters by 2030, and continuing to implement nature-based solutions. We have to act now, and collectively we have to commit the funding necessary. So thank you to the tremendous leadership of all the local advocates who have driven this project for years, the leadership and commitment of our governor, Governor Newsom, and the Biden-Harris administration. Let's give them all a round of applause. Brevemente les quiero desear un muy feliz Día de la Tierra. Hoy celebramos el comienzo de construcción del cruce de vida silvestre más grande en el mundo. Un puente elevado sobre una autopista de 10 carriles y alta traficada que ayudará a los animales silvestres cruzar con seguridad. Este proyecto representa el futuro de la infraestructura sostenible y hará que carreteras sean más seguras para todos, igual para los animales que las familias que vienen a gozar las montañas de Santa Mónica. Trabajando juntos, es importante proteger la naturaleza para futuras generaciones y seguiremos haciéndolo en colaboración. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you all for doing your part to protect these treasures for our children and for future generations.
Thank you for being here, Senator. Next up of the partners, we have Robert Rock, the winner of the International Wildlife Crossing Design Competition in 2011, and who works with a team side by side with Caltrans to bring the wildlife crossing to this infrastructure project, the expertise that we needed. Come on up, Robert.
Thanks, Beth. I was probably about 8 years old, the same age that my son is now, when my father told me that you should always leave a place better than you found it. Now, in my recollection of that moment, it was this simple yet grand epiphany. But in reality, it was probably much more a holdover from his days as a Boy Scout, or maybe just a forceful way of telling me to clear the dinner table. It wasn't until years later that I discovered that there was a similar quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, a quote that reads, "To leave this world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you've lived, that is to have succeeded." I like to think that's what this project is about. We're all leaving this world a bit better with this project, and for that I owe thanks to all of you who have supported this effort, to our incredible and talented Living Habitats team, to the ARC partnership, to the project partners who've put their trust in our design team as we work together to realize this vision that began decades ago. And to my supportive family and my beautiful wife Jennifer, who did not need any convincing to abandon the snow in Chicago on Monday to come to this beautiful California weather. And finally, to my son Alexander. It's my sincere hope that if you take one thing away from this day, buddy, it's that you know that you inspire my work that's intended to preserve this beautiful, dynamic, and magical natural world for you to explore as you grow and forge your own path. Thank you.
Okay. And then, of course, a key part of the partnership is the agencies we work with who have made this a reality, whether it be funding, science support, or moral support when I call you up. I want to give a shout out to Brian Cash, who's in the audience, who, wow, he's taken many a midnight call from me. But here we have the people making it happen. John Donnelly, Director of the California Wildlife Conservation Board, Chuck Bonham, Director of the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Mary Small, Deputy Executive Officer of the State Coastal Conservancy. Come on up.
Well, thank you, everyone, and it's truly an honor to be here today, and I'll be quick, but I really, truly believe I do have one of the best jobs in the state of California, and I know Chuck probably will disagree with me, but I think I do. And the Wildlife Conservation Board has an incredible board that we work with that allows us as staff to be able to do the work that we do around the state of California. And I just want to make one really quick point during my minute, is that, you know, the foresight that went into to getting us here to the day today, I mean, this has been years in the making. And in order to make the integrity of this crossing work, it's the connections and the anchors on either side, and that's been going on for decades. And there's two organizations that I want to point out. One is the Department of Fish and Wildlife, who the Wildlife Conservation Board works with on a daily basis, and without their support, we would not be able to do the work of the Wildlife Conservation Board that we do. And also in Southern California, the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, Joe Edmondson and his staff, they are anchors for us down here, and we so look forward to continuing the work that Wildlife Conservation Board has done down here. So once again, congratulations to everybody, and thank you for having us be a part of this incredible day. Thank you.
Good morning. I'll be really brief. The Coastal Conservancy is very proud to have been an early funder and a longtime supporter of this project. It is so gratifying to be here. It is so hopeful to see us actually get something built, and we look forward to partnering on many more. I heard that Caltrans is up for doing a lot more of these, so we're here to help.
How are y'all doing? Hey, so a big complicated project. It has science, it has law, it's got economics, engineering. Inevitably, it has politics. Not a lick of that matters today. On a day like today, it's the human spirit, it's your soul, it's your heart, it's your insurmountable imagination and fortitude to make California better. So on behalf of the Department of Fish and Wildlife, your California Department of Fish and Wildlife, as director, the joy makes you want to cry. I'm so damn happy we're here getting this project done. And I'd like to give and hear from you a big hallelujah and amen.
I'm keeping introductions short to stay on time, but Assemblymember Richard Bloom, we couldn't have done it without you.
What a morning. What a great event. I'm number 2 in your cavalcade of electeds, if you're keeping score. I want to begin by thanking staff. There's a lot of staff members here. I have 3 in particular who I want you all to cheer for. Genevieve Morelos from the Assembly Budget Committee. A lot of money was guided through, thank you, through the, well, you know, they're all part of the ecosystem. So Genevieve. Guy Strahl, my chief of staff, tenaciously went after the dough and every other item that we passed over the years to make this thing happen. And finally, I want to thank Tim Pershing, my field representative. Yeah, you all know Tim, who is doggedly pursued. He's gone to every meeting. He's been there every step along the way and helped move this project along. Things like this do not happen just because of people like me. It's because of our staff. They're the ones who make it happen. Sorry, guys. You all know that. But friends, tonight marks the end of the Passover holiday for Jews, and that got me thinking about the story of Moses parting the Red Sea that was blocking the escape from Egypt. And this 101 freeway is like the Red Sea for wildlife, right? An impassable barrier thwarting a better life and threatening their very existence. Today, like Moses raising his staff, we dig in our shovels and cause a sea of concrete and cars to part. And if you think of the obstacles in the way of this project, it's something of a miracle that it's moving forward. So let us all be inspired by this moment and continue the work of returning and expanding habitat to those from whom we've taken it. Thank you.
And another key partner, California State Assemblymember Laura Friedman. Come on up, Laura.
Hello. Could there be any better expression of California's values than this project? There couldn't be. I mean, I've gone to a lot of events, and I can't remember the last time I was at one that had so many elected leaders, a U.S. senator, and our visionary governor all at the same event. That shows you that in California, we put our money where our priorities are. So why am I here? I represent an area that's far to the east of here. And I have a lot of famous constituents in my district, but the most beloved is P22, who I am happy to represent. But we worry about him every single day because the district that I represent in which he lives has 5 major highways running through it and no safe crossings for wildlife. So I also get to chair the Transportation Committee in the Assembly. So, where's Joe Edmondson? Where's Joe? Raise your hand. Joe, I have good news for you. In January, I introduced AB 2344, the Safe Roads and Wildlife Protection Act, which will, number 1, have Caltrans collect data about our most dangerous crossings for wildlife and our most key crossings for biodiversity in California, and then would have Caltrans and fund Caltrans to build 10 wildlife crossings a year and to ensure that any project, major transportation project built in the future in California will never just do this, without also considering and making safe passage for all of this. So the work is just beginning here. And I want to call out all of the activists, the enthusiastic members of the public, all of the elected officials, all the staff, all the volunteers that made California the leader in the world with the world's largest wildlife crossing about to be installed right here in California. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning. I'm JP Rose, and I'm with the Center for Biological Diversity, a co-sponsor of the Safe Roads and Wildlife Protection Act. I'm so grateful to Beth and the National Wildlife Federation and all of you for making this dream a reality. And I'm excited for California to build upon that legacy with the Safe Roads and Wildlife Protection Act. We need this law because we know that wildlife crossings work. They give imperiled wildlife the freedom to find mates, food, and shelter. And they protect people from dangerous and traumatic collisions. By investing in wildlife crossings, we can keep California wild while keeping people safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Cara Lacey. I'm the project director for the Wildlife Corridors and Crossings project at the Nature Conservancy, and I am honored to be here. Thank you, Beth, so much. And I gave Beth a job. Sorry. So I'm honored to be here today celebrating this outstanding achievement to build the Wallis Annenberg Wildlife Crossing. Beth invited me here today to talk about what's next, and my message is simple. Just like Joe's, we can do this everywhere. We and our partners have a vision for a reconnected California where wildlife does not have to compete with cars to cross roads. And as Joe said, they can also get to the other side for sex and food. And not every wildlife crossing needs to be as big or bold as this one. This one is awesome. So we mapped about 15 wildlife crossing priorities in Southern California that, if funded and implemented, will catalyze this vision for a reconnected landscape. If just a small portion of the state budget is allocated toward these crossings, we can address the major barriers to wildlife and start piecing back together this beautiful state. So together, let's celebrate this momentous crossing as a beginning rather than an end. Then let's come together and accomplish wildlife crossings throughout California to keep wildlife and people moving safely. Thank you to Beth so much and everybody here for working toward a more resilient future for us all. Thank you very much and have a great day.
All right, hang with us, everybody. We're getting there to the shovels. We have a lot more good stuff. Next up, God, I don't have my boy, Senator Stern, you've been there since the beginning, and now you're bringing the next generation. So what a great partner. Thank you, Senator Stern. Come on up.
Thank you, Beth. I'm Henry Stern. I represent this community in Sacramento. And I grew up in these mountains. This land taught me humility. It taught me to wonder. And I think every Californian, every Angelino has a right to nature, has a right to that wonder. And it shouldn't matter if you're from Agoura or Malibu or Watts or Compton or Calabasas. Every single person has the right to nature and to wonder. And this is Ava. She's not an intern. She's my wife and I's pride and joy. And, you know, when she's my age, if we don't do this work to rewild LA, she will be wondering what that mountain lion they spoke of was. It'll be a legend, a myth, but not a real place. And so in LA and in California and beyond, I think we need to embrace our wild side and commit ourselves to nature. And she wants the mic too, but I'll tell you, the governor's vision for 30 by 30 and the president stepping up with over $1 billion recently, that shows you that their values are there too. For a man who has a mountain lion on his desk, sitting with this governor and wondering what it was like for him as a kid too, to wonder. We can all restore that right to nature here in LA. We've passed legislation last year, Keep California Wild Act, to help Caltrans advance funding. We're going to be introducing a new framework around a 30 by 30 plan for all of Southern California, so every kid and every lion and everyone in between has a right that is fulfilled. And we need to fight for that, because this would be a carpeteria, and there would be a prison back there, and there would be McMansions over here. But today, we're going to turn a page on something different. Thank you, Wallis, for making this happen. We love you guys.
Well, I'm hoping that Ava Stern will be running for office at some point. A beautiful little girl. I'm State Senator Ben Allen. I'm one of the colleagues of the folks that you've been hearing from today. I grew up hiking in these mountains. I'm now the chair of our Environmental Quality Committee. And I got to say, I'm very, very pleased that I'm going to be gaining this territory in my district as part of the redistricting process. It's such an exciting day. It's been alluded. The governor's going to be announcing his big 30 by 30 plan later on today, and I'm very excited to be running the bill that will help to effectuate a lot of that plan with regards to land acquisition, public land acquisition, to get more land in the hands of the public for preservation forever. There's obviously so many people who we have to thank today, all the activists, all the folks who've been playing such an important leadership role here. But in addition to thanking, of course, the incredible environmental leader, my hero, Fran Pavley. I do just want to take a moment to thank my two colleagues who helped to put this project over the top, and their staffs. We were flooded with budget requests last year, and Senator Henry Stern and Assemblymember Richard Bloom, who unfortunately it's his last year in the Assembly this year. We're going to miss him so much. He's been such a great leader. Henry and Richard took, of all of those budget requests, they decided to prioritize this one, to put their thumb on the scale. Their staffs got involved with all of that energy and all that expertise and all that doggedness, and helped to put this project over the top. So very special thanks to them for helping to bring us to this wonderful special day.
Good morning, I'm Julia Brownlee. I represent the next district over, and I am so excited to be here for this truly, truly momentous occasion, not only for our entire region, but for the preservation of this precious ecosystem, a place where only certain plants, species, and wildlife exist and cannot be found anywhere else in the world. This project is the embodiment of imagining and making the impossible possible. Years have been dedicated by so many visionaries who have brought us here today. And I speak for a very grateful region and a very grateful planet, and saying thank you to all of you. Here at the entrance of the Conejo Valley, we are at the starting point of a movement. The Annenberg Wildlife Crossing will always be looked upon as an extraordinary feat and a paragon of where people and community and nature share a magnificent open space. This corridor is intrinsic to the region, nestled in the Santa Monica Mountains, where homes and businesses line up to beautiful trails and scenic views, where nature is literally in our backyards. This wildlife crossing is the quintessence of our value of a community and as a community. No other community or remarkable group of people could have pioneered this tremendous effort. I am overjoyed to join all of you today as we celebrate this environmental achievement and continue our journey to protect and preserve our public lands, our sacred lands, our outdoor spaces, and our beautiful wildlife. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Brad Sherman from America's best named city, Sherman Oaks. And I'm so pleased that the gods of redistricting have assigned to my district, after 20 years, the lion's share, or should I say the mountain lion's share of the mountains. I'm glad to be back. It's tough to be a mountain lion. The prey is fast, global warming, encroachment, and you're hemmed in to the point where all you can do is date your cousins. Inbreeding, lack of genetic diversity can lead to extinction. That's why I'm thrilled that we are building the largest wildlife connector in the world, connecting the Santa Monica Mountains and the Sierra Madre Range, and putting the mountain lions back on Tinder. I've been with so many of you at so many occasions. Back in 2001, when we acquired 107 acres here in Liberty Canyon. In 2002, when we changed the borders of the Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area to include this area. Today, when we are announcing this project, thanks to the governor and Henry Stern and and everyone we've mentioned. And when we opened the Backbone Trail. But we've got to do more. That's why Adam Schiff is leading us, Julia Brownlee and Ted Lieu and myself, for the Santa Monica Mountains Rim of the Valley Corridor extension to connect with the Santa Susanas and the San Gabriels and double the size of the national park. So today on Earth Day we celebrate, but we have much more to do to save our mountains and to save our planet. Thank you.
It is my honor to introduce Congressman Ted Lieu, who's been a P22 fan for quite some time.
Good afternoon. I'm so honored to represent this area. And the National Park Service has been studying this area for over 2 decades, establishing their scientific basis for why we need a wildlife crossing. And I just want to say that sometimes government works at a majestic pace. But when it moves, it can be majestic. The federal government is only one part of this. We had the state government, and thank you, Governor Newsom and other state legislators for getting funding. We had a range of nonprofits. We had major donors, such as Wallis Annenberg. We have private individuals, over 5,000 of you, who provide donations. So it took a huge amount of people to get this done. And this is just one project, which is why I'm very pleased that in the infrastructure law that Congress members Julia Brownlee, Brad Sherman, Adam Schiff, and I supported, there is $350 million of funding for wildlife crossings across America. Last decade, when I first got elected to Congress, the Gore Hills council member Elise Buckley Weber brought me here and said, we're going to build a wildlife crossing. And so my office has been part of their wildlife crossing working group since then. And I just want to say that it's an honor to represent this area. Next year, you're going to get an amazing member of Congress, Julia Brownlee, who represented this area in the state legislature. And when Julia Brownlee writes that letter to ask for more funding for this wildlife crossing, Brad Sherman, Adam Schiff, and I will be co-signers of that letter. So thank you so much for all your help and support, and I look forward to working with you as we make animals and humans work together in a better way. Thank you.
I have to say, I think one of my favorite P22 selfies I've taken is with Congressman Adam Schiff. He's also a big P22 fan. Come on up.
Happy Earth Day, everyone. Beth, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you and celebrate this remarkable achievement. Congratulations to all of you who have worked so hard for years, indeed decades, to make this possible. When I first arrived in Congress, I looked at what Congress had done in the 1970s to establish the Santa Monica Mountain Recreation Area and preserve this wonderful habitat, this amazing wildlife. But with all of the encroachment, it was quite clear that we needed to carry on from that groundbreaking work in the 1970s. And so I introduced, with your support, legislation to double the size of the Santa Monica Mountains Recreation Area. We got that study bill passed during the Bush administration. We got it funded during the Obama administration. We got it undertaken during the Trump administration. And now we've gotten the bill passed to make it a reality in the House of Representatives. And with the support of Alex Padilla and Dianne Feinstein, we will get it passed in the Senate and send that to the President of the United States. But I have to tell you, I am alarmed at what I am hearing today, because for the first time I have heard that in my Hollywood-based district, there is a lack of food or sex. Because like Laura Friedman, I have the good fortune of representing P22. I am very proud indeed. Several years ago, when I visited Africa and got to see the incredible wildlife there, and my host showed me these amazing lions, I delighted and surprised them by saying, well, you know, in my urban, suburban LA district, we also have lions. And I took out that magnificent photo of P22, your photo, sir, and I showed them, and they thought it was photoshopped. But what a great pleasure to see California put its values to work, put its resources to work the way we have with this vital project. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for your incredible work, and onward to success in this project and so many others to preserve our wildlife and to preserve our planet Earth. Thank you.
Secretary Wade Cofort's become a friend, and he's an amazing advocate for biodiversity and in unlikely places like the Los Angeles area. It's been a pleasure working with you on this, Secretary Crowfoot.
Well, I've got to say, I'm deeply moved by this event today. Nature needs us, and we need nature. Earth Day 2022 is an opportunity for celebration, but it's also an opportunity for reflection, and I'll say reckoning. Our overheated planet is dangerously out of balance. We know this in California. Threats that we thought inconceivable even 10 years ago, we now deal with in real time. Many of us in government are spending our time working to protect communities and natural places from wildfire, from drought, from extreme heat. But amidst this existential challenge, we cannot be numb to the urgency and the severity of the crisis we face, nor be paralyzed by the enormity of the task that we have. We maintain hope by taking action, and I can think of no other action more inspiring than what we're celebrating here today. This project is a cornerstone for a movement to center nature at these huge challenges we face, to combat climate change, to protect this remarkable natural richness in California and across our planet, and to ensure all Californians, all Americans, all citizens of the world can get outside and explore this nature. Now, Governor Newsom has lit a fire, and lit a fire under us, to conserve more of California, to shift our land management practices, to capture more carbon in our plants and our soils, and to ensure that there are many more wildlife crossings like today. Most importantly, to empower and to resource regionally, locally based conservation efforts like the one here today. So I am hopeful. I am hopeful that we all can work together to ensure this is not a unique day. This is the first of many days like this. This is the first of many large transformational projects like this to ensure that people and nature thrive together. Thank you.
Wow, what a day. I want to take a minute, or a second, if you'll allow me, to thank my mom, dad, and brother who's here. My mother, Martha Pratt, is 83 years old. She has been volunteering for Save LA Cougars. If you order something on the Save LA Cougars store, she's the one who ships it. Mom, stand up. That's Mama Pratt. I want to thank everybody for saying nice things about me. Listen, it takes a village, and I'm just part of a village, and I actually am an introvert, but had to be an extrovert for this campaign. I can't wait to go back to reading books and not having to talk anymore, but I really thank you for saying nice things to me because my boss is here. Colin O'Mara has just embraced this project and brought the support of the National Wildlife Federation here. Thanks for being here, Colin.
I cannot think of a single place on Earth that I would rather be right now. Celebrating the largest wildlife crossing in the world, with one of the world's leading philanthropists in Wallis Annenberg. Thank you so much for your amazing leadership. With the United States greenest governor, my friend Gavin Newsom. With the best congressional delegation in the country sitting right in front of me. Incredible state legislators like Richard Bloom and Henry and the entire folks in Sacramento, and the local elected officials that are spectacular. I am so jealous by what you have here. I had this weird flashback when I was getting on the plane, I flew from DC yesterday. And my first week on the job, I get this random email from this crazy lady in California that says, you got to come to California, you're going to build the world's largest wildlife crossing. And I got it on the plane, you got to be like, look, I'm the new kid. Like, it was kind of a crazy decision to put me in this job. I'm getting on this plane, I was like, I'll fly to LA, it's going to be beautiful, I'll get a few days to spend time with my friends. So we have a little event over here. And by the end of 2 hours, I was a believer. I had a chance to meet Seth and Jeff, I had a chance to meet Miguel, I had a chance to see the vision that was here. The idea of going across 10 lanes of highway is insane. This is the biggest project like this in the world. And I love that I got to tell Governor Inslee a few weeks ago that this is twice as big as the big one he's got up in Washington State. Look, you all have started a movement here. It's not about the project. The project is amazing. It's significant. It's going to help the wildlife in this area. That's amazing. You've started a movement across the country and around the world. The fact that the U.S. Congress, with folks like John Barrasso in Wyoming and Tom Carper in Delaware, put tens of millions of dollars into wildlife crossing because of this project, because they want to see more of it, is amazing. The fact that the Recovering America's Wildlife Act is going to pass the Congress this year to bring another $60 million of federal money to California every single year because of the work here, because we can replicate these successes. It's a remarkable thing. This project is built on a simple premise. When we save wildlife, we save ourselves. Wildlife is in crisis right now. It's in crisis. And the ally of extinction is inaction. In California, you act. In California, you inspire. In California, you make the entire country believers. I am so grateful for your leadership here today. I am so excited about our next speaker, who is one of my favorite people. I've known since he was mayor of San Francisco when I was a kid squirt working for the mayor of San Jose. You are blessed. You're doing something special here. Know that it's important regionally, but it's going to take this country by storm. We're going to be talking about connectivity as a wildlife frontier for the next generation, and it started right here in California. Thank you so much on behalf of the National Wildlife Federation. And look, Beth is a treasure. I want you all to know how much I am so proud of the National Wildlife Federation team, but Beth has the ability to take that kind of, some visions are kind of like a hallucination, right? Like, if there's no action plan behind it, I'm in California, so I can probably say this, I'm okay hallucinating a little bit too here and there too. But making that vision a reality is a special thing. The team that you've built, Beth, the family that you've brought together, this is amazing, and it's going to storm the country. Thank you very much for having me.
It is my pleasure to introduce Wallis Annenberg. Wallis, we could not do this without you.
Thank you very much. I am thrilled to be here with you all, especially on Earth Day. What we are doing today goes beyond mere conservation toward a kind of environmental justice and environmental rejuvenation that is long overdue. You might say that when we break ground here at Liberty Canyon, we're also shattering the old ways of doing business, the old approaches that simply ignored the fragile ecosystem beneath our feet. Today, we begin to reconnect the lands and living creatures that should never have been fractured in the first place. We begin to make the lands whole again for all. We know wildlife crossings make a profound difference. We know they actually work because they give animals a way to roam around without risking their lives. They help the whole ecosystem become healthy again while allowing us all to the growth and the development we need. That's the basic insight here. We can share this earth instead of claiming it and dominating it. We can coexist side by side with all kinds of wildlife instead of paving it over and choking it off. That's why I am so proud to support LA's crossing, which will be the largest urban wildlife crossing in the world and the first to have significant private support. It's about saving the mountain. It's about saving the mountain lion, certainly, and all the wildlife that calls Santa Monica Mountains home. But it's about something far bigger as well. It's about restoring a sense of balance to our natural world. It is about bringing more attention to an ingenious solution so urban wildlife and ecosystems like this one can not only survive but thrive. And it's about the extraordinary things we can achieve together in partnership with the public, the private, and nonprofit sectors united in doing what is right. To me, that's the new model of problem solving, one we need so much more of in the years and decades to come. Now, I am pleased to introduce Governor Newsom, whose own commitment to conservation and to urban wildlife is deeply held and unwavering. Governor, you're welcome.
So the good news is we're almost halfway through the program. Whew. Good news indeed. I'm so damn uncomfortable being here. I have not been to an event in 2 years where everyone's so happy. This is really uncomfortable. Wow. All this smiles, enthusiasm, people complimenting one another. I haven't seen a protester yet. Amazing, man. But this is a glorious and gracious day, and it wouldn't happen without all of you. And I think in the spirit of what Wallace just said, all of you, there's that old African proverb says, you want to go fast, go alone, but you want to go far, go together. And you're reminded of that in this moment of what all of you have done. That not just that public-private partnership, but the public-public partnership. The capacity for the federal government, regional agencies, state agencies to also come together across their differences and work through issues and advance a cause that we hold dear and a cause that connects us to our childhood. And I love just seeing all those young kids starting this off. If you're like me, I wasn't connected to the issue of climate when my dad started talking about particulate matter. I wasn't necessarily connected when he started talking about something called CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions. But when the polar bears started to be impacted by ice sheets melting, when those river otters and sea otters started to be, all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. We need to do something about this, Dad. And I'm reminded of my dad because quite literally I'm here because of him in every way, shape, or form. Some more invisible than others. My father, who named me after and author, Gavin Maxwell, who wrote a book called Ring of Bright Water. He was a bit of a fanatic in this space, wildlife and biology. Our first pet was not a hamster, it wasn't a rabbit, it was Potter the otter, an actual river otter. He lasted as long as my dad's marriage to my wife lasted, or my mom's lasted, which was about 18 months, because the otter bit the mailman. And my mom said, it's either your son, Gavin, or the otter, and he paused. So he moved up to the mountains in Placer County. I stayed home with my mom, but those visits to Placer County also included trips to Hunter Liggett and elsewhere up and down the state, where he was advancing the cause of protecting mountain lions in this state. He co-founded the Mountain Lion Foundation. I was out there, I'll remember like yesterday, licking envelopes with Prop 117 that outlawed hunting of mountain lions in the state of California and set aside habitat. And so when I got a call a few years ago to come down and visit you, Beth, I ran down here, and I was so enthusiastic to see the energy, the passion, the action, and the progress. And so what a gift personally this is for me to be here and to be a small part of it, working with our remarkable colleagues in the state Senate and the Assembly, working with local officials and federal officials. $54 million the state has put up for this program, and we'll complete the job with another $10 million, by the way. I told Wallis we're not going to ask for any more money. We're good. We're good. We're good. I think we're good. I don't know. You know, another reason you got me all confused is you applauded Caltrans. I've never heard of. I mean, I hope someone did you guys get that on film? Wow. Like I said, what a day. What a day. But what an extraordinary thing it is to look forward to the days ahead in this project's completion. And as was said, success leaves clues, how this is going to inspire other projects, not only around the rest of the world, as Colin noted, but also across the rest of this state. And Joe, not only do we have remarkable leaders like the Assemblywoman that advanced the cause of data collection, but we put $105 million that was approved in last year's budget to replicate projects like this all up and down the state of California. Money that's in our hands. And by the way, we're doing another $50 million in May. So we're going to continue to build on this good work. So look, I want to just end, because I know Beth has some final words, and I know we're all standing between all of you and getting home and obviously coming for what you came here for, and that was watching this official groundbreaking. But I do want to just thank every single one of you, all the remarkable leaders, and I don't talk about the elected officials. I'm talking about all of you leaders in your own right that helped advance this cause, will inspire young people, and will inspire examples like this all across the rest of the country and around the rest of the world. California, eat your heart out. Washington, D.C., eat your heart out. Washington, and eat your heart out, Florida. Thank you all very, very much.
Let's give him a hand. Thank you, Governor Newsom. I don't know any other governor that tweets out, I heart a mountain lion. Listen, we're going to go do shovels, but join us at King Gillette Ranch. We got a party going on there.